Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Tuesday. Hey, baby, how you doing over there?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. Coming up later in the program, we'll be visiting with your father. A little special episode of Tuesdays with Charlie. We'll explain why it's special here in a bit. And I've got a quote for today. Today, by the way, is tax day. Usually you'd think, April 15th, but since that landed on the weekend, somehow today is the day. It says it on my calendar. And it says, from Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr., taxes are what we pay for civilized society. I like that. I mean, it's a good price to pay for civilization, when you think about it. If you're looking... What are you laughing about? No?
No.
Okay. Well, hey, if you're looking for a wake-up buzz... Maybe this is what you need. There's a thing called Shower Sock. It's a soap that delivers 2 cups of coffee's worth of caffeine per shower. Wow. One heck of a wake up in the shower. So you get your caffeine while you're taking your shower.
Yeah, that's not a very good idea.
You think you come out of there smelling like coffee? I'm not exactly sure how that works. All right, got some special things going on today. We'll tell you all about it in a bit. Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
Thought you'd never ask. It's Tuesday, April the 18th. Today is income tax payday. So today's the day that you have to be paid in. Usually that's on the 15th of April, but since that was on the weekend, it kind of got pushed off till today. It is Adult Autism Day today. It is National Columnist Day today. National Lineman Appreciation Day today. So it's the people that are like working with the power lines and whatnot.
Yeah.
Huge thank you to those guys. Imagine what our world would be like right now without people who do that job. We'd be in the dark. We would be. Pet Owners Pet Owners Independence Day today. So if you're a pet owner, today's your day. And Heidi, it's a day that we get to celebrate. World Amateur Radio Day. Oh, wait a minute. We're not amateurs. We are professionals. International Amateur Radio Day today as well. So we got both of those going. So for you amateurs out there, it's your day to celebrate. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
How much do you pay for cable or satellite? Don't forget your DVR rental fees and online movie accounts. When you add it all up, many people are paying well over $100 a month. Some pay way more. What if you could cut that down to zero? There's a device that surfs the net to find shows and programs you like with no monthly fee. Many have already cut their cable or tossed out their dish. If you have internet and a TV, you're all set. Learn more about this awesome technology that can save you money every month at channelsurfertv.com. Use promo code RADIO to save 25% at channelsurfertv.com.
It's true because you heard it on the radio. Over the weekend, we had this little event that happens about this time every year. Kind of moves around a little bit, but it's called Easter. And something that happens all the time this week during, right after the Easter holiday, shelters around the country are inundated with a bunch of cute, little, adorable bunnies and chickens. So there are people who buy...
they buy them for gifts.
They buy
for
them.
The Easter basket.
Look, you got this... So it says here, and we're going to talk mainly about bunnies in this story, but I know chickens are on the list too, because I've seen it where they'll buy the little chicks for Easter, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now what do we do with these?
Right.
Every year around this time, large number of adorable little bunnies get dumped at animal shelters because families acquire the critters at Easter without realizing how difficult it is to have Bunny as a house guest. Chris Best, a spokesperson for the Humane Society, says it's a big problem. Rabbits are now the 3rd most common animal to be given up after dogs and cats. Why are bunnies being dumped, Heidi? It says bunnies don't like to cuddle. They have a self-image problem. Rabbits are prey animal eaten by coyotes and other carnivores, so they survive by hiding from other mammals. They're used to being chased so often that they don't like to cuddle.
That makes sense.
Which they interpret as being captured. So when you're snuggling with them, they're feeling like you're smothering them. Bunnies start out so cute. At about 4 months, they become obnoxious teenagers. They lunge, they spray urine, they chew on things.
Oh.
They must be spayed or neutered. It says rabbits require meals of fresh veggies and hay and must have their nails clipped monthly and their coats brushed often. Unlike their low-maintenance pet counterparts like gerbils and guinea pigs and other things, rabbits can live a long time, too, often 10 years or longer. So, that cute little bunny that you thought, oh, it's going to be so adorable for Easter, and we'll be done with that by summertime. No, 10 years of that is what you're going to have. It says if you if you just had enough and you're going to dump off your bunny somewhere, they're saying some people think that we can just take them out to the woods. Well, if you do that, you're basically just feeding other animals in the woods because the domesticated bunnies don't know what to do out there. So it's kind of sad. Maybe just steer clear of that in the future. But this week, the week after Easter, is when they start seeing them, and I guess they'll be trickling in for like the next 2 months. So there you go. And you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
And this is your brain on drugs. Police in Pennsylvania say a man accused of drunken driving told them it was his son that was at the wheel of a sport utility vehicle when he hit that tree. By the way, his son is 4 years old.
Oh, man.
And he was sitting on the man's lap when the officers got up to the vehicle. He said he had turned the wheel too far to one side, sending the SUV careening off the road. So, was the little boy going to jail? Not likely. Police say Mr. Boyce had an open 30-pack of Budweiser in a cooler in the vehicle, and that's when he had crashed, and he was quite intoxicated at the time. So, that's not a good thing.
No.
Not a good thing at all. So, and he had his 4-year-old son sitting on his lap.
And even if the kid would have been at fault, it's the man's responsibility to make sure there's not a child driving the car.
Well,
anyway, so there's no way the kid would be going to jail.
Think about how dangerous this is, because if the airbag had gone off,
it would have killed the boy.
Absolutely could have. So he's very fortunate that his son is okay. Coming up, we've got your moment of duh. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
We've talked about other folks that have done this, but the driving test for one young lady in Roseville, California, just recently did not go as well as maybe she would hope. Lucky for her, in the story it says an unidentified girl was preparing for a driver's test, and she crashed into the Department of Motor Vehicle building. Officials say the girl will likely only face some personal liability costs, not to mention the embarrassment, and hopefully extended status of a non-driving pedestrian, because she's not ready for that yet. So we just talked about one not too long ago where it was when they got back from the test. Mm-hmm. This is as she was preparing for the test. So she hadn't even taken off yet. That would be sad. Can you imagine how awful that would be?
Oh, that would be terrible. And it would be so embarrassing.
Oh, it would be very embarrassing. And everybody, because, you're excited. Oh, I'm going to take my driver's test.
So how'd it go today?
Well, I smashed into the building. Probably won't be getting a driver's license for a while. And my parents said they're going to not let me get a car. So, yeah, I'll be walking. Can you give me a ride? All right, coming up, we've got your Scoop of the Day. That is on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your Scoop of the Day. Heidi, we don't typically talk about tabloid talk around here, but I just read a story that I thought was interesting. Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt split up. You knew that, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that's the tabloid part of the story. But Angelina Jolie, when you go through a divorce, you got to start over. You got to, everything got to rebuild from nothing. Well, she's finally landed on her feet. She's got a home finally. $25 million mansion in Hollywood. That's not the kind of starting over most people do.
I read on the cover of one of those tabloids that she's getting married again already.
Is she
and
really?
I don't know if that's accurate.
See, I steer clear of that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. But she did buy a home, $25 million Hollywood mansion. I just thought it was interesting that, she's starting over from nothing.
And you know what? Even if I had that kind of money, I don't think I would buy a giant, huge, ridiculous house like that. Because what do you do with all of that space?
I don't know. Hey, for those of you
of course, she does have 98 kids, so it's probably not a bad idea.
It's not that many kids. Hey, for those of you who are watching the giraffe cam, we didn't talk about this the other day, but this finally happened. April, the giraffe, long-awaited calf, is doing just fine. Veterinarian who gave April and her newborn their first post-birth checkup was happy to announce Sunday that all vitals are good. So we did not give any updates on that. We started talking about this like 2 years ago when that very first popped up. How long does it take to have a
I
baby?
don't understand why everybody was so
I
fascinated
don't
with
know.
this. Who cares?
But it was interesting to me because it took forever. It was like, wasn't this going to happen in January?
In the time that we waited for that one giraffe to have a baby, there were probably 10,000 other giraffes that had babies, and nobody talked about them.
I don't know. Maybe that's the only giraffe being born this year. I don't know what the big deal is. Hey, a week after a park in southwest China started providing free toilet paper for visitors, guess how many rolls they've gone through already?
How many?
1,500. They'll put in toilet paper, and the first person to use it will take the whole roll when they leave. They just steal it. 1,500 rolls of toilet paper in 1 week. They've never had this, apparently. I don't know. What did they do before?
Where was this?
It's in China. Southwest China. Apparently you had to bring your own in the past? I'm not exactly sure. All right. I've got a story here from... where's this from? I'll give you the person's name. It says News Attack. It says... Hoda Kotb is returning to the Today Show after 2 months of maternity leave. So who is Hoda Kotb?
I have no idea.
I have no idea either. I thought maybe you would know. Is it Huda? Am I saying it right?
Honey, I don't know. I don't watch that garbage.
Yet she pays attention to the covers of the tabloid magazines.
Only because they're sitting there while I'm standing in the checkout line. It's not like I picked up and read the magazine.
Going out of your way
I just
for
saw
it.
the cover.
Hey, this is a sad story, I think. Headline, Walmart greeter fired over wild turkey. Now, I wanted to make sure you understand. He wasn't drinking on the job. Let me explain. It was a real wild turkey. This happened on the 27th of March, so not too long ago. 88-year-old Walmart greeter Bob Tallinger said that a wild turkey wandered into the store while he was on duty. Employees and customers were able to shoo the bird into the outdoor garden section of the store, and then the Humane Animal Welfare Society worker was able to capture him with a net. But Bob, Annette was probably his assistant. No, it says a net. You Weisenheimer. Bob, by the what?
Are you the 88-year-old
No.
Walmart greeter that just got fired?
Yes. Yeah, me and Bob. Anyway, Bob was let go over that. Now, his job is to greet people and let them in. His job isn't to shoo away turkeys.
And he probably greeted the turkey. As long as he greeted the turkey, he was doing his job.
Welcome to Walmart. Would you like a buggy? Apparently not. So I don't know. I just thought it was really sad that he was let go over that.
That's a bunch of crap.
Unless he, maybe there's more to the story. Maybe he ran to the hunting department and started shooting at the... It doesn't say why. It just says that was what started it. So I don't know. Maybe Bob had it coming. But just from what I'm reading in the story, I feel bad for poor old Bob. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Speaking of feeling bad for folks, we've got some stranger hanging out at the studio here. We're going to see what he's up to. I don't know what's going on. We've got Tuesdays with Charlie on the way.
John and Heidi.
Imagine the sand between your toes and an ice-cold drink in your hand. Join us this November for 80s in the Sand.
Week-long event with 80s music from over a dozen awesome bands.
Plus, meet 80s icons from the movies like Anthony Michael Hall, Andrew McCarthy, and several others.
Get all the details at 80sinthesand.com.
Use promo code RADIO to get a $200 immediate refund per person.
The website is 80sinthesand.com.
Book your week-long 80s vacation right now at 80sinthesand.com.
John and Heidi.
And it's time right now for my favorite program, something we do every Tuesday at this time, just because we can. We pick up the phone and we call my father-in-law for a little program we like to call
Tuesdays with Charlie.
How you doing, Charlie?
It's another Tuesday already.
You sound so clear. It's almost like you're in the studio.
That's amazing, isn't it?
We got together for Easter and he just never left. So
Still here. Sobering up, ready to go home.
So what kind of cool stuff we can learn about today, Charlie?
Hey, did you know that sex workers in Australia can claim dance lessons, lingerie, cosmetics, and hair care as a tax deduction?
No kidding.
I would suppose so. They're all expenses for business.
Well,
Business
and you said that
related.
was where? In which
Australia.
Okay, down under. So probably can't. That's not supposed to be funny.
So is that legal? It must be legal there,
Sure.
huh?
I think we need to go down under. And I was going to keep this clean.
So far, so good.
Pretty tame and right out of the chute. Hey, then asking people for small favors trains their brains to believe they like you.
Really, small favors?
What are you going to do for me?
I'll come up with some small favors for you.
Well, I want it the other way around.
Okay.
Oh, hey, then the total weight of all the ants on Earth is greater than the total weight of all humans on the planet.
No kidding.
Really?
Must be a lot of ants.
There are. I think I just read there's like 1 million ants for every human.
What?
Yeah, there's a lot of ants.
But would 1 million ants weigh as much as one human?
Apparently.
Huh.
You weigh up 1 million ants.
Ants
You
a
wouldn't
lot
think
weigh,
so.
They're-
How much do you think 1 million ants would weigh? Like 5 pounds?
Well, I don't
Way
think
more
it
than
weigh
that.
much.
Oh, it weigh more than a human, apparently.
They weigh more than me,
Huh.
and I'm not a skinny guy.
So apparently there's some fat ants out there
Hey, then here's one that you're on the internet all the time, right?
all the time.
The man who invented pop-up ads has apologized to the world for creating one of the internet's most hated forms of advertising.
Well, he should.
You should. I would agree with
They
that.
ought to take that stuff off there.
They should.
I don't know how to get it once they come up. I don't know what to do.
Just turn the computer off and go home.
Well, that's
one way to do it.
Hey, then if you're a twin, your parents will always call you the wrong name at least once a day forever.
No kidding. I'm not even a twin, and my parents did that for
Well,
years.
yeah, I constantly am calling my kids the wrong name, and I've got a boy and a girl.
Yeah, you should hear the names that she calls them.
It ain't Burmeister and Susie either.
No, it's not.
Hey, I got one last hair thing for you.
Oh, yeah, what's that?
A California man made a personalized license plate that said no plate.
No plate.
He received more than 2,500 parking tickets.
No kidding.
What?
No plate. What a sense of humor.
Oh, so anybody that didn't have a license plate, then it went to him.
No plate.
No plate, so they would all go to him.
Oh,
2,500 of them.
wow.
I bet he decided to quit using that for a license plate.
I bet he did too.
That would be bad. I read a story about a guy. You know those little speed cameras?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
There was a guy that drove by one of those on a motorcycle, and it took his picture speeding. So I have no clue what he thought he was going to do, but he drove around the block 36 times thinking he was going to, and he covered his license plate for the 36 times. And he sped past her thinking that it was going to like overwork the system or something. Anyway, he got 37 speeding tickets in the mail. Because the first one, they were able to identify him with his license plate. And he got 36 more.
It sounds like something you'd do.
No, it's not a smart plan.
That's why I say it sounds like something.
All right. Well, you ready for a question,
You
Charlie?
got a question for me?
I do.
Whip it on me.
Dr. Seuss, there was a publisher that bet him that he couldn't write a book using just 50 words. And he bet him that he couldn't do that. So Dr. Seuss did it. Do you know what book that was?
Cat in the Hat.
No, close. Green Eggs and Ham.
Oh.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites, too. And there's only 50 words. No more than 50 words. Now, there's a lot of words in there, but no more than 50 individual words to make that book.
I've never read the book. I've looked at the book, but I've
Yeah,
never read
You'll
it.
have to read
It's
it
just
sometime.
a lot of repetition.
They got
Yeah.
pictures.
A lot of you look. If you read the pictures, you can just kind of figure it out. Always a pleasure to have you in here, Charlie.
Well, it's another day.
So we'll talk to you again in a week or so.
Well, let's...
You going to stop by again, or are we going to be doing it on the
No,
phone?
we're going to do it over the phone this time.
Keeping your distance from us
Yeah,
now.
I've had enough of you for
Get your fill till Christmas.
That'll work.
All right. Thanks, Charlie.
Bye, Daddy.
Bye, Fluff. Bye, John.
Bye-bye. My father-in-law right there, we talk to him every Tuesday just because we can with a little program we like to call
Tuesdays with Charlie.
John and Heidi.
It's almost graduation time. If you have a son or daughter finishing high school, you need to hear this. They can go to college without racking up a pile of student loans. Matthew Einstein did. He saved over $70,000 on a top-rate education. Then he built a system to show you how to do it too. Learn how you can use this system for your kids or for yourself. Go to freeeducationuniversity.com. Sign up now and get a free 60-minute private consultation with Matthew. Use promo code RADIO20 to save 20% at freeeducationuniversity.com. That's freeeducationuniversity.com.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Researchers say the more carrots and tomatoes you eat, the less your chance of having asthma.
Huh.
Yeah. And I don't eat carrots often, every once in a while. I never eat tomatoes, and I have a little bit of asthma. So there probably is something to that. What are you laughing at?
Nothing.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The right side of a boat was called the starboard side because that's where the people used to stand to look at the stars.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Many of the sweaters worn by Mr. Rogers on his television show were actually knitted by who?
His mother.
Yeah, his real-life mama. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Earthquakes are very common on the moon, but they're actually called moonquakes.
Well,
They
wouldn't be called earthquakes.
Yeah. They happen less frequently than they do on Earth. They have smaller magnitudes of quakes as well. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
This is our final one. It says the only living tissue in the human body that contains no blood vessels is your transparent cornea in your eye.
Oh.
Every other part has blood vessels in it. Now you know. A couple of fun facts right here on a Tuesday.
John and Heidi.
Are you tired of the same old 9-to-5 rat race? Sick of not controlling your financial destiny? We partner with a leading health company whose mission is to support you to build a home-based business and help others be healthier, drop excess pounds, and live longer, more rewarding lives. Best of all, everyone who joins after you is placed on your team. No bugging family or friends. Call 866-741-7242 for more information. Or if you'd like, text the word income to the same number, 866-741-7242. 866-741-7242.
John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Just when you thought sugar was good for you, there comes a story like this. Wait, we didn't think that?
No, I don't think anybody's ever thought that.
Especially after this very sugar-filled holiday weekend that we just finished up with. Says here, too much sugar will make you stupid. I'm not even kidding. That's what the headline is. According to researchers, the suggestion follows tests in a laboratory comparing high fructose corn syrup, which is 6 times sweeter than cane sugar and a common ingredient in processed foods, with omega-3 fatty acids known to aid memory and learning. In an experiment on rats, one group had a sugary diet for 6 weeks and another was fed a healthy diet for those 6 weeks. At the start of the study, published in the Journal of Physiology, I think it says here, the University of California team tested how well the rats navigated a maze before they put them on this diet. They placed landmarks there to help them learn their way. 6 weeks later, the researchers tested the rats' ability to recall that route or that route. Co-author of the study, Professor Fernando Gomez Penilla, says the rats fed a sugary diet were slower and their brains had declined. He said eating a high fructose diet over the long term alters your brain's ability to learn and to remember information.
Okay, but they're talking about fructose, not sugar.
Well, they're talking about...
fructose is man-made, and it's full of chemicals.
So...
Sugar is,
then why would
is
it
natural.
Say, why would it say too much sugar will make you stupid?
I
for the
don't
headline?
know.
And then it even said they're comparing
misleading.
high fructose corn syrup with cane sugar. So I'm a little confused because that's exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
But that's kind of a misleading story.
It is.
Well, those people out there at the University of California almost seems as though they have something against somebody there. Sugar world. Anyway, it's a high fructose corn syrup really then is what they're talking about. Anyway, I don't have a link to the study, so I'm sure Heidi wants to read it, but you're going to have to take my word for it. Coming up.
I don't need to read it. I've already known that.
All right. Coming up, we got more fun stuff. That is on the way.
John and Heidi.
How much do you pay for cable or satellite? Don't forget your DVR rental fees and online movie accounts. When you add it all up, many people are paying well over $100 a month. Some pay way more. What if you could cut that down to zero? There's a device that surfs the net to find shows and programs you like with no monthly fee. Many have already cut their cable or tossed out their dish. If you have internet and a TV, you're all set. Learn more about this awesome technology that can save you money every month at channelsurfertv.com. Use promo code RADIO to save 25% at channelsurfertv.com. Scientists at Monell Chemical Senses Center in Philadelphia have discovered something, Heidi. They discovered why your cat would rather eat a mouse than a chocolate bar. I didn't know that this was a thing, but apparently they did a survey and cats said, I'd rather have mouse than chocolate. They said there's a major defect in cat genes which prevents them, while maturing, from developing the taste receptors that detect sweets. So they don't appreciate sweets.
I wish I had that.
Yeah, I should get some of those too. Researchers say meat actually tastes sweet to cats. So that's why, they eat meat. It actually tastes really good to them.
Huh.
Like a mouse would, much more so than like a chocolate bar. So I guess I didn't know that cats didn't like chocolate.
I didn't either.
I didn't know that people were trying to feed cats chocolate.
I didn't either.
I mean, if I had chocolate, why would I share it with a cat?
Maybe
I know you're not supposed to feed it to dogs.
Maybe if a chocolate bar could move and scurry about quickly, it would be interested in the...
They probably would be. Coming up, we're going to talk about your worst driving experience ever. That is on the way. Okay, before we get to the worst driving experience ever, we're going to talk about this, and then we'll get to that in a moment where we'll have a little more time to chat about it. But what do kids think of paying income taxes? Today is officially tax day. It's usually on the 15th. This year, since that was on the weekend, it's today. H&R Block did a little thing, said only 24% of 8 to 11-year-olds know anything about the IRS. They didn't, when they asked them what that is, most kids don't know. So 24% had some clue. So it's interesting. When they use the phrase, I think the IRS is smart and helpful, 71% said, yeah, sure, that sounds good. Yeah, that sounds about right. Taxing my allowance would be a bad thing. 88% said, yeah, that would be a bad thing. So there's still 12% that were like, yeah, sure, go ahead, whatever that means. I'd rather pay taxes on my allowance than give up TV. 50% agreed with that. They're like, I'd rather pay taxes than give up television. You ask your parents the same thing, they'd probably say yeah as well. I'd rather go to school year-round than pay allowance taxes. 48% agreed with that. And then my parents are crabby and mad when they do their taxes. 39% agreed with that. Fun stuff. Out of the mouths of babes. Coming up, we're going to talk about your worst driving experience ever. That is on the way.
John and Heidi.
It's almost graduation time. If you have a son or daughter finishing high school, you need to hear this. They can go to college without racking up a pile of student loans. Matthew Einstein did. He saved over $70,000 on a top-rate education. Then he built a system to show you how to do it too. Learn how you can use this system for your kids or for yourself. Go to freeeducationuniversity.com. Sign up now and get a free 60-minute private consultation with Matthew. Use promo code RADIO20 to save 20% at freeeducationuniversity.com. That's freeeducationuniversity.com.
John and Heidi.
I can't wait to hear Heidi's worst driving experience ever because I know the story already. She's told it to me. But an 80-year-old man was driving around when he suddenly took the wrong turn and almost smashed into an airplane.
Whoa.
Can you imagine that? An elderly man drove through a gate that's usually locked, but for whatever reason it was not locked and it was actually hanging open. And he went out onto the runway at an airport in Norway. There was a plane traveling at 125 miles per hour. When the pilot saw an old man driving his car, he accelerated and took off early. He cleared the man's car by just a tiny little bit.
Oh, my gosh.
Almost smashed the guy's car all up. The driver of the car stopped when he saw the plane bearing down on him. Now, that would be the worst idea. You should get out of the way, shouldn't you? Wouldn't you think?
Well, you would panic. You wouldn't really know for sure what to do, I don't think.
I've never done that, but I've got a fun story that Heidi has told me before. What's the worst driving story you have, Heidi? It has to do with a motorcycle, I think. I'll tell the story if you want. She cut off a guy at a motorcycle. This is when you're in high school, right?
Yeah.
Didn't mean to. And this guy pulled up next to her window and was yelling at her. And she had her window down and she just acted like she didn't hear him. She's like listening to the radio, staring straight ahead, smiling.
He was calling me some not very nice things. And he was right next to my window for a very, very long time, just screaming at me. I didn't know what to do.
Well, what are you supposed to do in a situation like that? Did you apologize? Hey, sorry about that.
I didn't say anything. I didn't even look at him. I was terrified.
Don't encourage
At the time, I was not carrying a weapon.
Well, my dumbest thing I've ever done, I was being silly. There was a friend of mine driving towards me, and I swerved over, pretending like I was going to run into him, and he went off the road. And so, are you okay? He's like, what was that all about? I was just goofing around. But there had been snow on the ground. It was a little icy, and it wasn't for me. I had a vehicle that was decent on the snow. Anyway, when he swerved over, his car spun out of control and went off the road. I was like, that was really dumb of me to do that. So, yeah, that's probably my dumbest driving story. And there's probably people listening that have seen me do dumber things than that. They're like, not even close. We'll move on. We've got some good news.
I can think of several.
Yeah, we've got some good... Enough. We've got some good news on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap things up around here with some good news, and I think this is good news. This is just such a heartwarming story, Heidi. Now, you have a younger brother. Would you take a bullet for him?
Oh, absolutely.
You would?
I would.
Do you think you would, like in real life?
I would.
An 11-year-old California boy is being called a hero after he literally took 3 bullets to save his 2-year-old sister. Now, how is this good news?
Well, how on earth was he even around something?
Listen to what happened here. After shots broke out at a birthday party, and Carrie Jo, along with her son and her daughter, were at a toddler's birthday party when the shooting happened. And that doesn't explain in here, to this part of the story anyway, why shots rang out at a toddler's birthday party. But that may be in the rest of the story here. It says, Carrie said her son covered his sister with his body to protect her. The boy was shot in the chest and the back and the knee. Had to undergo surgery to remove a kidney and his appendix. Luckily, he's expected to make a full recovery. And I have a link to the entire story if you want to see the entire thing. Facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. But that little dude's a hero.
Yeah, he is. Absolutely.
11-year-old boy.
He is.
And were they shooting at the 2-year-old? I mean, what are these
I think
people
they were
have
just
against?
shooting in general at
That is
everybody.
just nuts. That is crazy. Anyway, a link to the story on our Facebook page if you want to see the whole thing. Facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. And 11-year-old boy, super duper awesome kid. What a hero.
That's awesome. Maybe it was at like a Chuck E. Cheese's or something like that where they were having this party. You can only hear those songs so many times before you snap.
No, I don't think that's what it was. I have no idea. Nothing against those songs or that place, just so you know. All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Tuesday. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. If you've got some good news that you think would be worth sharing, you can send that to me through our Facebook page. And if you just go on there and send me a message through the Facebook page, and that way I have it right there, and then I'll share it on there as well. And I share all of them on there, and as many as I can on the radio. We always have one good news story a day, so can't share them all on here. But if you share it there, we'll definitely make sure we post it and even give you credit if you'd like. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Tuesday.